Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Teil von The Succession of Changing Kings. Ist ein Spiel auf Steam. Kannst du ja nicht mal zeigen. War nicht teuer, 7 Euro glaube ich, 7,89 € oder so. Ich werde es einfach mal testen. Ich habe ja schon mal dieses Yes Sir Grace oder so gespielt. Das ist halt Kingdom, du hast ein Königreich und musst schwerwiegende Entscheidungen. Oh Gott, mal Ton leiser, ich habe es bis jetzt noch nicht gespielt. Du musst halt, Espanol? Ja, es gibt leider nicht auf Deutsch. Schade, ich dachte vielleicht. Du könntest auf Spanisch oder auf Russisch spielen. Aber ich glaube, Englisch ist besser. Ich hoffe, es ist nicht so ein Problem mit der Sprache, weil eigentlich dieses Königreich und was für Entscheidungen trifft man, ist ja was ich eigentlich gerne spiele. Mich wundert es jetzt nur, dass man keine Spielaufnahme sieht. Aber das kriegen wir hin. Das kriegen wir hin, das ist gar kein Problem. Aber will noch nicht so ganz. Ja. Wir gucken einfach mal. Ich denke mal, für 7,89 € kann man nichts verkehrt machen. Er zeigt mir leider das Fenster nicht an. Machen wir das doch so. Okay. Wir machen einfach mal New Name. Neuer Name. Wie gesagt, also ich mag ja solche Spiele eigentlich. Es war nicht teuer. Ist glaube ich auch noch Early Access. Ich hoffe, es ist nicht zu detailreich. Okay. 5 Könige.
This was the exact amount of time needed for each contender to complete the path to coronation, a peculiar tradition rooted in the sacred texts. This period became known as the succession of changing kings. A once prosperous kingdom had withered into a decaying fiefdom. Fields that had yielded bountiful harvests were now overgrown with weeds. Trade caravans had all but vanished, and the finest of its people had abandoned their homeland in search of a better future. Few dared to hope that you, the last of an ancient dynasty, would succeed in breaking this vicious cycle. The wise patriarch went to the throne of light to pray for you. Before leaving, the patriarch vowed to return in exactly 444 days to preside over your coronation. Until then, you will remain a dauphin, a mere shadow of a future king. As you ascended the throne, the sky above the castle was gray and gloomy. Doubt swirled around you, denser than the clouds overhead.
Also es kommt eine Katastrophe und wir müssen uns vorbereiten.
Your fate has not been sealed yet. Time loomed over you like an unrelenting weight, but one chance remained. The only chance to prove that you were more than just another failure on the throne, to show that you were the one who could restore the light and glory of the kingdom.
Klar.
Break the succession of changing kings at any cost. Survive to be crowned king.
Survive to be crowned king. Okay. Tutorial.
The hall was cloaked in dim light, with the flickering glow of the fireplace casting long shadows on the walls, lending the surroundings an air of mystery. You stood by the massive window, gazing out at the distant hills. Your thoughts drifted between past and future, fears and hopes intertwining. Faint footsteps echoed in the corridor. The heavy door opened soundlessly, and Adrian the Holloway entered the room. Of course, you had heard of him. His silver hair and trimmed beard gave him the appearance of a wise figure from ancient legends. The steward paused at the threshold, regarding you with a look of respect tinged with subtle sorrow. "Your Grace," he began softly, his voice smooth and warm like velvet spreading through the room. "Allow me to offer my congratulations on your ascension to the throne. I am Adrian I. Holloway, your steward and henceforth your loyal servant. I am here to assist you in this trying hour."
Yeah. I'm ready.
A faint, barely perceptible smile flickered across Adrian's lips as he gestured toward the table, where a map of the kingdom lay spread out. "Let us start with the fundamentals," he began. "Here on this map are all the lands of our kingdom. Every region, every village, every forest, and every river. This is your kingdom, and you must know it as well as the back of your hand. Adrian's long, graceful fingers glided over the map, bringing its features to life with each motion. You rule not just over the land, but over its people, he continued, his tone taking on a sterner edge. Every soul, from the humblest peasant to the mightiest noble, looks to you for justice and wisdom. But understand this, justice is a concept that varies from one person to the next, and sometimes wisdom demands actions that seem to defy justice. Equally vital is maintaining a respectable level of the kingdom's defense. The lower it falls, the more pirates, bandits, and unscrupulous neighbors will seek to exploit it. A weakened healthcare invites epidemics and disease. Threats no fortress walls, no matter how strong, can keep at bay. You listened intently, your expression growing grave as the weight of your duties began to settle upon you. Justice and wisdom. You had never been prepared to bear such responsibilities as a ruler. Adrian noticed your unease, and with a gentler tone, offered reassurance. Do not worry, Your Majesty. I'm here to assist you. We shall take small steps. Each day, choose 1 or 2 tasks I have marked on the map, and act according to where your heart and reason guide you.
Also es ist schon mal etwas anspruchsvolleres Englisch, würde ich sagen. Okay, Tutorial 3 von 4. Das ist also unsere Karte. Die ist ja relativ übersichtlich. Taverne, King's Hall, Stronghold, next turn.
The steward led you through the narrow corridors of the castle, past ancient tapestries and stone arches. You stopped before a massive door adorned with intricate carvings. Adrian produced a key that he always carried and opened it. He guided you to a large writing desk made of dark wood, where neatly arranged project cards were laid out. Here is a list of potential projects for construction and people you may consider hiring, sire, he explained, gesturing toward the scrolls. Oddly enough, despite the succession of changing kings, the castle's vaults still hold a decent stockpile of gold. There is also a fair amount of stone, timber, and ore in the storerooms. But your time is limited, and these resources must be spent wisely. Use your royal initiative prudently. It is your most critical resource. He paused, allowing you to absorb the gravity of his words. You must decide whether to repair the heavily worn fortress walls or to strengthen the royal guard. Perhaps it's better to provide work for the commoners, so they don't idle about aimlessly. Do you enjoy good health? Adrian's gaze shifted to you with a hint of concern. Because there are no physicians left in the castle. The last city doctor departed for Thorn a week ago, right after your predecessor's funeral. Adrian sighed, his tone lowering and becoming more serious. I bring this up because King Radwin, whom the people mockingly called Radwin Forgive Me Please, humiliated the commoners to such an extent that they hung him in the town square. And King Gilbert the Glutton fared no better. His unbridled appetite led to his demise. He died at the dining table. Rumor has it he was poisoned, though no proof was ever found. Adrian's gaze swept over the study. Every decision you make will shape the fate of this kingdom, sire, and affect how your subjects perceive you. Should the favor of any of the 4 influential factions, the commoners, the army, the aristocrats, or the church, fall to critical levels, the consequences will be dire. As of today, you likely have no idea who supports or opposes you. Hiring an informant would be a wise first.
Es ist die Frage, wer uns unterstützt, ne? Und wer nicht. 4 von 4.
Adrian led you further through the corridors, eventually arriving at the throne hall, a modest room with walls adorned by banners and a single throne standing against the stone wall. Sire, this is the throne hall, Adrian began, gesturing toward the throne. Here is where you will make swift decisions, pass judgment, and hear reports.
Ja, da kommen die Leute wahrscheinlich und wollen irgendwelche Sachen, aber es war jetzt
emphasizing the gravity of his next words. Before you end your day, remember to visit me here in the throne hall, Adrian continued. News often arrives by the end of the day, along with urgent matters requiring your judgment. This is crucial to keeping your finger on the kingdom's pulse. You nodded, understanding the significance of this ritual. Adrian took the cue to proceed. Once you have attended to matters in the throne hall, you may retire for the night, and the next day will begin. It's vital to hold out for 444 days, as many forces will try to thwart you. Those uninterested in the kingdom's prosperity, those seeking their own gain, external enemies, and internal conspirators. Adrian paused, giving you time to absorb his words, then added with quiet conviction, "And don't dismiss the curse of ill fortune, even if you don't believe in destiny. Stay vigilant, sire, and may Lumen's light guide you."
Let's get started. Okay. Wir haben den ersten Tag. Gucken wir uns erstmal um. Harvest Festival. Das sind also wahrscheinlich diese ganzen Events, die man machen kann. Das sind meine Initiative. 5. Health 4, Defense 4. Da kann ich nicht drauf gehen. Commoners, Army, Karten, Kirche. Taverne kann ich nicht. King's Hall könnte ich gehen. Da kann ich schon mal Sachen bauen. Not enough Engineers Guild. Okay. Das ist ja schon mal gut. Bitte. Das ist die King's Hall, das ist die Tonhalle. Okay. Können wir uns hier das Dorf irgendwie angucken? Ne, wir können uns gar nichts hier angucken, ne? Man sieht es hier nur halt. Okay, The Harvest Festival. Matters of Support. Corps Zero Operative. Eine Armee. Ich glaube, so ein Bauernfest wäre doch gar nicht mal verkehrt. The Harvest Festival.
The Harvest Festival. A gusty wind sweeps away the oppressive summer heat as golden autumn approaches. You pause in a village conveniently nestled between the Bay of Storms and golden wheat fields. Farmers busily load wagons with freshly harvested crops, buzzing around like hefty honeybees. The village elder approaches with a bow. After lamenting the hardships of rural life, he earnestly requests your assistance in organizing the Harvest Festival, a centuries-old tradition marking the end of the harvest season. We have not seen meat since winter, and as for ale, well, let's not even speak of it, he says with a sigh.
Okay, meine Entscheidungen. Let us throw celebrations they will remember for centuries. Send a troop of buffoons instant we will save on food and drink. Let us throw celebrations they will remember for centuries. Wäre natürlich gut. Ich weiß halt nicht, wie teuer das ist. Send a troop of buffoons instead we will save on food and drinks. Das war eine Party. Okay.
The villagers appreciated your generosity, and the festival was a resounding success.
Okay, die Commoners, das ist vielleicht die Bauern oder die einfachen Leute, sind happy. Wir haben 2 Initiative verloren. Training, ich finde Hafen eigentlich auch ganz wichtig, oder? Hafen ist auch so eine Sache, die wahrscheinlich ein bisschen länger dauern wird. Matters of Support.
Matters of the Port. The capital's docks welcome incoming ships with their clean quayside, bright orange tiled roofs, and the scent of 1,000 spices. It is nothing like the usual expectations of a trading port, with its drunkards, the aroma of stale sweat, and the colorless vomit splashing onto cobblestones after days of being tossed about on the waves. The credit for the pristine state of the capital's waterfront lies with the old aristocratic family of Housewer Nightingale. They own most of the buildings and warehouses in the port. However, this cleanliness comes at a steep cost. Local merchants pay exorbitant rents, additional levies, and endure the absence of the city guard. By decree of King Radwin, please forgive me, the City Watch no longer patrols the port. On one hand, this denies them the opportunity to earn a little extra from foreign traders. On the other, it clearly weakens the capital's security. A united group of merchants and city guards has approached you, demanding not only the repeal of House Nightingale's privileges, but also
Okay, das wäre eine Möglichkeit, den Aristokraten natürlich ein bisschen was Nettes zu tun, ein bisschen was einzunehmen, aber steht ja auch, man braucht dann halt auch Truppen und so. Meine Entscheidung. None and those like him are the backs of the kingdom. Begun the right to set such rents, but may he not even think of... What does the ruler think of himself? All the prisoner by the crown. Ach so, okay, da wenn die Leute bei uns patrouillieren, werden die Aristokraten aber nicht so happy. Nothing more and those like him are the backbones of this kingdom. Machen wir das.
The petitioners left empty-handed, and that evening, a letter of gratitude arrived from the aristocrat. Word had spread quickly, and he wasted no time thanking his benefactor.
Okay. Dann habe ich da die Entscheidung getroffen. 2 von 5. Und jetzt... Kingswall kann ich nichts mehr. Was ist denn hier? Was ist ein Inn zum Beispiel? 12 Initiativen, um sowas zu bauen. Okay, verstehe. Dann Engine Skill 20. Da müsste ich also warten. Okay. Was ist ein...
The butler's advice.
The butler's advice.
The butler catches you poring over documents belonging to your predecessors, the previous Dauphin. Much of what you have read today could only be described as drivel, such as Gilbert the Glutton's 76 donut recipes or Magnus the Heretic's annotated chess games. However, a significant portion was penned by Sigurus the Recluse, perhaps the most accomplished of the changing kings. He was only 4 days shy of coronation. You stretch lazily, allowing your still young bones to creak like those of an elder. Your Majesty, Adrian the Further Holloway begins, his tone reverent but firm. May I offer some advice? Everyone is eagerly awaiting a sign of your favor. Countess Ivinchel, Holy Father Lumiel, and General Bardarian have already arrived in the capital. It is widely believed that the first audience granted by a new ruler signals where their loyalties will lie. You recall your conversation with the butler yesterday and decide to probe further. And if my Majesty were to show favor to the common folk, who should I meet with? For a moment, the all-knowing Adrian freezes, caught off guard. Then he recovers and answers, "Sir, that is somewhat unconventional, as the common folk have no formal representative."
Okay, es kommen also verschiedene Abteilungen zu mir und es ist wichtig, wen ich als erstes so dran nehme.
And instead visit the nearest village. Such an act would send a very clear message.
Okay. A lady should never be keep waiting someone. In contrast to me. Okay, the army is the kingdom's true backbone. I will gladly meet with the general. The Holy Father Lumiel is always a welcome guest in Wallendor. What is the name of the nearest village? Have the carriage prepared. We all show Snoop. I am not modus. Ja, also Army muss ich schon. Die Army zuerst. Okay.
In less than 15 minutes, the butler brings General Bardarian to you.
Okay.
Reliance on the army. The doors of the hall opened without a knock, and the general appeared in the doorway. Bardarian was completely bald, his head gleaming under the torchlight, with several scars crisscrossing his skin, each telling a story of countless battles. His face, rugged and sharp with deep wrinkles, spoke of years spent on the battlefield. His dark, penetrating eyes were sharp and observant. A slight hint of bulkiness only emphasized his powerful physique and commanding presence. Bardarian stopped in front of the throne and bowed his head in respect. "Your Majesty, I thank you for this honor," he said, his deep, gravelly voice resonating through the hall. The king nodded, inviting the general to speak. Bardarian straightened, his gaze turning serious and determined. Your Majesty, I have come not only to express my gratitude, I have come to speak plainly. If you choose to support the army, you will have no allies more loyal than us. The army, and I personally, will stand by you until the end. We will die for you, if necessary. The general paused, letting the echo of his words ring in the silence of the hall. Then his tone turned harsher as he continued. But the history of our kingdom remembers those who chose otherwise. Take King Anzabal the Peaceable, for example. As you know, his reign was the shortest, just 99 days.
99 days.
He believed that maintaining fortresses and supporting the military was too costly for the treasury. First, he disbanded his personal guard, and then he began cutting troops and reducing funding for military facilities. Bardarian took a step forward, his eyes glinting fiercely. By the end of the third month, the troops marched into the capital. Without much ceremony, the king was executed in the main square, beheaded. Anzabal thought peace could be bought, but he failed to grasp one simple truth. Without a strong army, there is no peace. Yes, the army never fully recovered, but we learned our lesson. We will not allow such a thing to happen again. The general bowed his head once more, paying respect to the king. I say this not to frighten or threaten you, Your Majesty. The Holy Father and the Countess may never speak so directly, but they have plenty of ways to depose a Dauphin, as they have done before. We believe in you, Your Majesty. As a token of our friendship, the army will undertake the restoration of one of the capital's critical structures.
Alles klar. Let's drink to that.
It is, of course, reassuring to have an ally like Bardarian, yet you cannot shake the thought that your uncle Anzabal was coldly beheaded by the very general of his own army.
Facing instructor master -1 every 2 turns. Okay. Stingy
And even stingier.
Was ist das?
In the early days of your reign, news arrived of the death of Igar Pagan, a notorious miser aristocrat and possessor of untold wealth. His name was synonymous with greed and hoarding, and even in his final days, he remained true to his principles. Having no direct heirs, his many relatives eagerly awaited the chance to claim the vast fortune hidden within the depths of his desolate mansion. However, Igar Pagan's will proved a fitting epitaph to his life of stinginess. In his final decree, he ordered, "My wealth shall go to no one, bury it with me." This command caused a wave of outrage and debate, and the matter was brought before you as the supreme arbiter, with the hope that you would bring justice to such an absurd situation.
Der will irgendwie sein Geld mitnehmen oder so? Load up the mystery treasure and send it straight to the royal treasure. Discern his wealth equivalent among his noble allies. Donate it to the constructor of a new for lumen. I have read reports about. Use the move to form celebration ends. Okay.
Historians would later describe this event as the Drunken Week. Across the kingdom, peasants drank as though Lumen had descended to earth and declared the end of days. The common folk were delighted, but all work ground to a halt.
Okay, Leute sind happy. If the stars are lit.
If the stars are lit, you toss and turn restlessly in bed. The pillow is far too soft and your neck quickly stiffens. My first royal decree should ban soft pillows, you think, rising from the bed. In the fireplace, a single log crackles faintly as it burns out. Sleep eludes you on your first night as sovereign. Will you be able to bear such a heavy burden? Will you even survive to see the end of next week? Questions upon questions. Suddenly, a brilliant flash lights up the room, and you hurriedly step out onto the balcony. A star! A falling star!
A falling
the palace
star.
guards shout in excited voices below.
Okay, Initiative Nummer
Many
1
witnessed
zu-
the falling star tonight and saw it as a good omen for the start of the new king's reign. However, there were also those who believed this reign would be as brilliant and fleeting.
Okay. Liebe Leute. Can't you turn when you're ready? Ja, ich kann nichts mehr machen. Das ist mein General wahrscheinlich. Okay, entertain. -1, alle 2 Runden. Das ist natürlich nicht so gut. Facing Instructors. From the history of Valendor. Okay. Und jetzt 11. 3 Eyes, 3 Augen. Das ist Kirche eher. Bevölkerung. Army müssen wir auf jeden Fall nochmal machen, ne? Trainieren oder so. Das. Was haben wir da? Da haben wir nix. Cool, let's do business. Ich würde mal erstmal hier anfangen. Das ist ein Army. Curb your appetite.
Curb your appetite. For centuries, tradition dictated that taxes in the northeastern lands, stretching from the Satir Mountains to the Shadow Valley, were collected by the army stationed in Okor, a fortress perched on the border between your kingdom and the Duchy of Thorn. The residents of these lands, simple peasants and artisans, had grown accustomed to this arrangement. The army provided protection and in return collected annual taxes set by the king himself. But times have changed. After a series of weak monarchs with diminishing authority, the army began to take greater liberties. What was once an annual duty transformed into a quarterly burden. The people could not replenish their stores quickly enough and struggled to feed their families. Smoldering resentment erupted into open rebellion. The commoners united under the leadership of a former blacksmith named Gorman, a man of both strong hands and an even stronger will. "We will no longer feed their bloated bellies," Gorman proclaimed at a gathering in an old barn that served as the rebels' temporary headquarters. "Let them work the fields themselves if they want our bread. We will pay taxes only to the king, as it should be. No middlemen, no greedy collectors from Okor."
Okay, kann ich mir jetzt
Word of the
direkt
rebellion
nur den
spread
König
swiftly across the
bezahlen?
northeastern lands and beyond. People defied the soldiers and even clashed with them directly. The army found itself in a precarious position, unwilling to use force against the people for fear of inciting a larger uprising. Gorman and his followers sent envoys to the royal court, demanding justice. Their appeal was straightforward: restore the old system and allow the commoners to pay taxes directly to the crown, bypassing the avaricious collectors in Okor.
Okay.
Upon hearing of the revolt, you grasped the gravity of the situation. This was not just about taxes, it was about authority. If you acquiesce to the commoners' demands today, they will learn that force can achieve their goals. And this will not sit well with the army, nor with many others.
Okay, let them pay directly. Why do I need middlemen? Traditions are strict, but the army needs to be reared in. Taxes may only be collected once a year. The army is within its right. Give the rebels a good flying lesson. Let us find a compromise. Why not hand over tax collecting to the church? Let them pay directly.
The peasants are grateful for your fair
Okay.
decision, but the army predictably curses your name. Let us hope you are not planning any wars soon.
Okay, die Leute sind zufrieden, das Militär ist unglücklich. Nicht gut. Nicht gut, nicht gut. 3 Eyes. Let's do business.
Let's do business. With the last trading ship came news that smugglers had settled at the northern end of the Bay of Storms. Such rumors could not go ignored, and you, resolved to uncover the truth, set out with a large group of guards. The journey was long, but your determination and desire to address the situation carried you forward. After navigating through an endless series of coves, you arrived at the site by nightfall. Before you stretched a hidden world, shielded from the eyes of law-abiding citizens. A secluded cove surrounded by high cliffs served as the perfect refuge for the smugglers. Along the shoreline, torches blazed brightly, and dozens of people bustled about, their activities muffled by the sound of the waves. Your group went unnoticed at first, but once a sharp-eyed lookout raised the alarm, panic ensued. Some scrambled into boats, trying to get as far from the shore as possible, while others dived into the water. Meanwhile, two men raised their hands high in a gesture of peace and approached you. They introduced themselves as Ludon and Luc Fonchel, the leaders of this illicit enterprise. Their operation involves smuggling goods from Cacao and Dalaman to bypass the kingdom's customs. According to the brothers, desperation and harsh trade policies implemented by the previous Dauphin, Sigurus the Recluse, had driven them to this life. Sigurus had imposed high tariffs to replenish the treasury. Fonchel claimed that almost every resident of the northern Bay of Storms was involved in smuggling in some way, storing, transporting, or selling goods. Even the military, aristocracy, and peculiar red-robed cultists allegedly ordered exotic fruits through them. For the first time in years, locals were no longer living in abject poverty. The brothers offered any assistance you desired, as long as their lives and trade were spared.
The law, Gesetz, you will go to prison, oder I'm taking cut, delivers agreed, continue the trade. Ja, machen wir weiter den Trade, weil alle ins Gefängnis schicken. Was ist das?
The smugglers began sending you regular financial gratitude, but the aristocrats were less than forgiving.
Okay, ich krieg Geld, aber der für die Aristokraten sind nicht so glücklich. Okay, gut. Ich würde mal hier einen Cut machen. Erst halbe Stunde rum. Das ist ganz geil. Es ist sehr viel Text, sehr viel zum Lesen, aber es macht es ja auch interessant. Dann hoffen wir uns sehen wir uns in der nächsten Aufnahme. Macht's gut, haut rein. Ciao, ciao.